I don't know how many of you have seen our TV spot that we just began to air last night. Our TV spot is about a theme that you will hear consistently throughout my campaign for the next 5 to 6 months and on into the general election. And the theme is about building relationships, bringing people together. Because when you bring people together, you can make great things happen. I've had the fortunate experience of being able to lead the city of Albuquerque for most of my public service career, working here in Albuquerque and Bernalillo County. And I learned early on in my work that unless you bring people together, you can't do very much. And that is what this campaign is about. It's about bringing people together. It's about realizing that together we can make great things happen. And it's about building relationships. Let me tell you a little bit about what those relationships can do for you. You can build a train. You can put together Explora Science Centers and quality of life projects that can make a community better. That's what I'm about. I'm about building relationships. I'm about building a great state for our children and your children. I'm Lawrence Rael. I'm running for Lieutenant Governor because I know I can build a better New Mexico for us all.
Good evening. My name is Linda Lopez. I serve as a state senator representing District 11, which is the South Valley and Southwest Mesa here in Albuquerque. Thank you. I have my son in the room someplace, and I don't know where he's disappeared, but some of you may remember Lorenzo 9 years ago when he was born. We had a splash on the front newspaper for about 2 weeks. The newspaper folks sat outside front door of my home to see if I was going to come back and vote for Manny Aragon. Some of you remember, I didn't. And for me, that was the first time in my political history, my political tenure, is when this woman stood up and said no. And since in doing that over the last several years, I have begun, I think, to prove myself that I am, first of all and foremost, a liberal, and very proud of it. I support social programs. You can look at my vote, or review my record. Everything that's about us as a community is very important to me. As a single parent, many of the issues that exist in our communities that everybody in this room is supportive of is something I too live. Limited income, so you may have seen it on the spread in the newspaper, an editorial on me where I work. Now you all know how much money I am. Those are things that we all look at, and those are things that are very special and very recognizable for our communities. I've been through many different experiences in my life. I've taken care of my mother. I understand what it's like to take care of families. That's the person we need to be there in the legislature to help and work with our future Governor, Diane Dennis. I'm there to back her up. I know the movidas, done a few myself. I understand the legislature. That's what I bring to the table, is the experience that our future governor needs to help her out. Is that my time up? Thank you.
I'm Representative Joe Campos, and I'm running for Lieutenant Governor. And first of all, I'd like to thank you, the Bernalillo Democrats, very much for coming out here and being so enthusiastic about this one campaign. Because I know we don't have any governor candidates, we don't have congressional candidates, and we don't have senatorial candidates that are going to be challenged this election. It's a bunch of lieutenant governors. But first of all, thank you, Anna, thank you, Pamela, Victor, for organizing this event, because it gives us a true opportunity to talk about the challenges that we have here in the state of New Mexico. If we're looking at the economy, education, healthcare, we're looking at ethic issues. And yes, I hope we also talk about tonight the upcoming session. You know what? This can be a challenge for the state of New Mexico, and we all know this. And in fact, this coming session can cripple the state of New Mexico for the next 2 decades. But truly, this can be New Mexico's epiphany, our epiphany, to really create a good, strong, transparent, accountable government that will create the jobs of tomorrow, that will create an education that we all can be very proud of, but most of all, it'll create a healthcare that is quality, is accessible, and affordable. That's what this election is all about. We need to make sure that we have a candidate that has experience. And that is one thing I have above all candidates here. I've been a mayor. I've been a county commissioner. I've been a state representative. I've been a businessman for 24 years and been able to bring all these resources and assets to make a common good for a lot of people, not just in my own community, but through my whole district. And I've led in renewable energy to create a green tomorrow. These are the jobs we need to create, no longer for the state of New Mexico to be the second poorest in the nation. We need to be the wealthiest. If you want the health care, if you want good education, if you want to make sure we open those gates of opportunity, it starts with green energy. Thank you very much.
I'm running for Lieutenant Governor after 6 years in the state legislature as a senator because I really do believe that this state's voters are much more progressive than this state's elected leaders have been. And I want to turn that around. I would like our elected leaders to start taking the lead in dealing with some of the issues that we have never effectively addressed in the past. How can we have the kind of corruption in state government that has characterized the last 8 years if the leaders aren't ignoring the voters? How can we have a dropout rate of the sort we've had in this state if the leaders aren't ignoring the wishes of the parents and the students and the voters of this state? And how can we have a tax policy that cuts the taxes on the very wealthiest and puts the burden back onto lower income families and the working class if the leaders aren't ignoring the wishes of the voters? The Democratic Party has been in charge of this state, and the Democratic Party, I'm afraid, has not been as progressive as the voters have asked it to be. I would like your support in becoming a voice within the next administration to deal realistically with those issues: the dropout rate, the economy, and turning around a tax policy that has got hopelessly upside down. We can win this election, but to do it, we have to have candidates who are just as progressive or more so than the voters, and certainly more than the past.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What a great night it is to be here in Bernalillo County at the UNM School of Law, my alma mater. My name is Brian Colon, and tonight I am going to work to earn your vote. Let me tell you what this campaign is about. It is about community, it's about gratitude, and about service. Before I begin, I want you to turn over my flyer that you have in front of you tonight. I would be remiss if I didn't encourage you, as Pamela did, to reach out and help our neighbors to the south. 50 to 100,000 lives have been lost. Millions of individuals are hurt, families are broken, and we have an obligation and duty to help. So please join Aleli and I in the support of the relief efforts for Haiti. The information's on the back of the flyer that you have in front of you, and it really is something that reminds me of why I'm in this race. Because this race is about community. And we realized this week that our community extends all the way to the poorest nation in the Western Hemisphere. Our community is about a young man who grew up in poverty in Valencia County with two parents who were disabled, with a father who died at the young age of 49. It is a community that allowed me to be the man that stands before you today. It is a community that allowed me, as an 18-year-old with no family in this state, to be a proud New Mexican who went off to college, enjoyed an education, opened up small businesses, met a wonderful, wonderful wife, Aleli, of the last 14 years, and our beautiful son, Rafael. It is community that has supported me and allowed me to grow up to become the chairman of the Democratic Party during historic times. And let me tell you, it is community that I have an obligation to serve each and every day of my life. It is this race that represents the next step in my life of living a life of service and gratitude. Thank you very much.